Welcome back to Leon's Kitchen. Today we're making Leon's collard green supreme. This recipe is just guaranteed to melt in your mouth. I know it's a lot of green recipes out there, but this is one of my favorites. Now collard greens, you may or may not know, there's three different types of greens that are popular that people eat. Collard greens is one of the most popular, and it's the biggest leaf with the darkest color. Now this is what the collard greens look like, and every bit of it is edible, stems and all. The mustard green, which I don't have, is not as big, and it's not as green, and it's greenish yellow. The turnip green is not as big as well, and it is green with a little purple going through it. All of them are good, and you can mix them up if you want to. They all have a wonderful taste. I don't particularly like turnip greens. They're a little bit bitter, so that one is to your taste. Now what you want to do is take your bundle of greens as you get them in the store, and you want to cut them into bite-sized pieces, which is very simple. You take the bundle, and they normally come in little bundles like this, and what I do is just cut off the stem part. You can, it's edible, you can use them, but I just cut those off in this case. And then take them and cut them down the middle, and then cut them into bite-sized pieces. Now some people like to eat the whole leaf, and that's fine, because they're going to cook down anyway, but I found that bite-sized pieces are easier to get on the fork, and it's easier to eat all the way around. Now you always have to wash your greens. And you have to wash them in salt water. You're going to find a little dirt and a little sand in there, and salt water actually will kill if you happen to have any type of, you got to realize that greens is something in the garden. There might be some snails or some type of bug in there. The salt water will kill all that. So what you want to do is rinse these in cold water, nice and thoroughly, and all the dirt and all the sand will just wash out. For this particular recipe, we need 12 strips of bacon, and get the thick bacon. And we want to take that and we want to render the fat. That's where you're going to get most of the flavor from. So you're going to put that in a heavy duty pan, and you hear that sizzle. So just let that get all that flavor out in there. Just stir it around until that all that flavor start to come out. Now in some recipes, people use different things. People use smoked turkey, which is fine. That gives it a different type of flavor. Some people use ham, and that gives it I love ham hock. Just the ham bone itself will give it an unbelievable flavor. But this particular recipe, we're using bacon. Some people do not use any pork at all. But pork really makes the recipe. And it's different from anything else. It really makes the recipe. If I had a ham bone, that's what I would use instead of the bacon. But the bacon is going to give it an extraordinary, fantastic flavor. So we have the bacon, we have that really in the fat out there. We're also going to add onions. And this is, for this big old pot, it may seem like a lot, but it's not. It's 8 onions, coarsely chopped. And we're going to stir all this until the onions are translucent, and the bacon is rendering all that good flavor in there. Now we want to be able to taste the onions, so we don't want them super fine. We want them nice and coarsely chopped. Now to that, I'm going to add some garlic. And I'm going to add 3 healthy teaspoons of garlic. That gives it a nice background flavor that is just Awesome. Now, I've also added some red pepper flakes. Very important. And you only need about 2 teaspoons of red pepper flakes. You want it to have a little kick, but you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to overpower with the red pepper flakes. Because we're going to add a whole lot of other stuff to it later on and give it flavor. So just let that cook down and till that gets nice and translucent. Just keep stirring it, and that's going to take maybe about 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, your onions become translucent, and this is what it looks like. So, all that flavor is cooking in there. Then you can start adding your greens to the pot. Now this is a very big pot because actually I'm cooking a lot of greens. And the greens, it seems like a lot, but they're going to actually wilt down to nothing. It's not going to end up being a full pot once we're finished. But believe it or not, we're going to get all these into this pot, and we're just going to do a handful at a time and just push them down. Now, for the liquid that I'm adding to the pot, I'm adding chicken stock. And this is a 32-ounce quart of chicken stock, and I'm going to use 3 or 4. I don't want to submerge them in there, but I want enough to give them flavor. So it's going to be about halfway full of chicken stock when I'm finished. And to this, now I'm going to add just a little bit of salt, because you really add your seasonings in the end. And I'm also adding vinegar. It has to be apple cider vinegar, and I'm adding 2 cups. But as you see, what I'm doing is I'm pushing in the greens, and I'm adding the chicken stock. I'm layering these flavors, and I'm gonna put a lid on them, and they're gonna cook down as we go. And I'm actually probably gonna add the vinegar at the end, because with my greens, once they're done, you won't need anything else to them. Maybe a little hot sauce in the end if you like a little extra kick, which I do, and that's what we're gonna have. So I'm gonna continue doing this, and I will see you when it's done, so you will see what the end product is. And this is the apple cider vinegar, 2 cups. And I'll be back in a minute. After about 4 hours of cooking these collard green supremes, this is what they look like. They all got cooked down and absorb all that nice flavor. Now what you want to do, and what you want to do with all your food, is you want to cook it as you go for additional taste it as you go for additional seasonings. So now greens are just a little bit bitter, but the secret to that is just a little bit of sugar will kill that bitter taste. Fantastic. Now we need this, like I said, a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt. Now, it's hard to give you exact measurements, depends on how much you want to do, but for this amount, I'm putting just a tablespoon of sugar and mixing that well, because these are nice and tender, and just, actually you can just cook these all day. I'm just going to cook these on very, very low until they are, we're ready to serve. And it needs some salt. And I'm putting additional 2 tablespoons of salt. Now, in this pot, this was 12 bunch of greens, and they sold in bunches in the grocery store. So this is 12 bunch of greens, cut into bite-sized pieces, boiled down. It seemed like it was a lot when we began, but this is what it is. And if you have people that enjoy greens or like greens, you really want to get quite a bit because that seasons them down. And the dish is done. If you need, I would recommend that you would not put any additional more seasoning. If they need any more salt and pepper or something else, let them do it themselves at their table, then they can season it up even more. But I guarantee you, you don't need any more than that. It is fantastic like it is. And that is Leon's Collard Greens Supremes. I guarantee you'll love it. Please stay tuned. Send me your comments, your questions. Anything I can help you with, I'll be more than happy to. Please watch me again at Leon's Kitchen. Stay tuned for our next video. Thank you.